Rodney Farms Trot for 3-year-old Colts and Geldings. The next to last New York Night of Champions heavyweight championship bout. We have it for you tonight on Summer Racing 94. The rail horse is Chell's Crown, driven by Sonny Patterson, trained by Frederick Branston, owned by Victor Liberatore.
No Threat fourth here last week. Richest purse he's racing for since wound up 7th in the Canadian Trotting Classic back in June.
The two horses, Easter West, driven by Ron Pierce, trained by Terry Altmeyer, owned by Altmeyer and Glessman.
Homebred won a New York Sire Stakes event at Monticello. Ronnie Pierce and trotters know something about Yonkers Raceway. He won the 93 Yonkers Trot with American Winner.
The three horses, Gumball, driven by Wally Hennessy, trained by Bill Andrews, owned by Edmund Timothy and David Smith, along with Alan Foster.
He is the hot horse with the hot driver, 4 in a row coming in. Hennessy's been on this horse 7 times, 5 wins in 2 seconds.
The four horses, Bites'em, trained and driven by Joe Hudon Jr., owned by Marilyn Fromowitz.
Well, I think the long season's starting to take a toll on this one. The Cinderella horse, $4,200, has made over $300,000 this season. It's going to have to improve off last week's dull effort.
The five horses, Savage Yankee, driven by Per Henriksen, trained by Frode Husband, owned by Henriksen and Smith.
Per Henriksen, interesting story. You talk about drivers needing hands to win, which is certainly the case. Per Henriksen broke his leg in a racing accident. He's back in the bike, but you ask any good driver, give me those hands, I can get it done.
The six horse, Speedy Big Boy, trained and driven by Ann Wheeler, owned by the Wee Stable.
And the Wee Stables comprises, among other people, Ann Wheeler and Pat Bennett, the chairman of the board of Vernon Downs, and now there's a big rooting interest up there. This horse is full brother to 92 Trotter of the Year, 2-year-old Trotter of the Year, Giant Chill.
The 7-horse V8, driven by Luke Willett, trained by Frank Tagarillo and owned by the Giacomo Stable.
Yeah, Frank Tagarillo was a fixture in the New York circuit for a lot of years. A few years ago, this $31,000 yearling won a New York Sire Stakes event at Syracuse.
And the 8-horse Ivory Prestige, driven by Bill Fay, trained by Joe Holloway, owned by the RJS Stable and Tony Martone.
Yeah, we talk about the horses racing well, getting stuck with bad posts. Ivory Prestige is racing as well as anyone in this series, but is behind the 8 ball here tonight.
All right, so those are the 8 trotters in the Rodney Farms Trot. Our feature, one of many tonight on Summer Race 94, and we'll be back from Yonkers Raceway after this commercial break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Yonkers Raceway in Westchester County. A light rain falling, but a pleasant evening nonetheless. Let's take a look at the odds. Chell's Crown, Sonny Patterson, long shot. Easter West, 23 with Ron Pierce. Gumball, Wally Hennessy, 4-5. Bites'em at 2-1, Joe Hudon Jr. in the sulky. The 5 horses, Savage Yankee and Per Henriksen at 50. Speedy Big Boy and Ann Wheeler at 29. V8 at 20. Ivory Prestige, who is the leader in the point standings, and Bill Fay. Well, we're just about ready for our second live call, though. And let's go to the paddock. Get Matt Lachlan. Matt?
All right, Gary, thank you very much. Talk about a perfect combination. For the last 2 weeks, Joe Holloway has trained Ivory Prestige because you've only had him for 2 weeks, and 2 victories. What a combination.
It's worked out very well for us. Like to try for 3, but it's been a very good time. And we bought him. We thought he's a nice horse and tried to grab a couple checks, and it's worked out well.
Last week, a post 2, and you were able to edge out Incredible Abe as Wally Hennessy went down the passing lane to take first place. Now you've got the 8-hole, a different situation.
Yeah, certainly. But last week's win does help because it gets us some respect. So if he gets out, you know, very good and can get up next to Gumball, I think they have to consider turning us loose. You know, if we were really an outside contender, they may leave you out there the whole time. So it could be worse.
Well, it could be worse. We'll see if it's 3 for 3 for Joe Holloway and Ivory Prestige as we're ready for the start of tonight's race. Gary, Frank?
All right, Ivory Prestige, driven, Frank, for the first time by Bill Fay.
Bill Fay certainly getting along very well with trotters of late, Gary. A couple of weeks ago at DuQuoin, Illinois. Bill hopped aboard Bullville Victory for only the 2nd time, and that horse pulled off the upset in the World Trotting Derby. So Mr. Fay and the trotters certainly getting along very well. The public giving this horse a lot of respect. An 8-hole horse at 3-1. You don't see that too often here at Yonkers.
All right, the 3-horse Gumball at 4-5. The 4-horse Bites'em at 2, and as Frank just mentioned, the 8-horse Ivory Prestige at 3. So those are the 3 that the Yonkers faithful thinks will be in the mix in tonight's second live call on Summer Racing 94, the Rodney Farms Trot. Let's go to track announcer Bob Meyer.
They're all. Gumball tries for the lead. Easter West towards the inside second. Bites'em the outside third. Chell's Crown fourth. Ivory Prestige the far outside fifth. Savage Yankee sixth. V8 seventh. Speedy Big Boys eighth. Around the turn down the back stretch. Easter West on the inside. Gumball alongside against the lead. Spreading out down the back stretch. Gumball in front by 3 points of a length. Easter West second. Bites'em looks to drop in third. Chell's Crown on the rail fourth. Ivory Prestige alongside fifth. Quarter time is 28-2. That's V8 off stride. At the paddock turn, Gumball in front filings. Ivory Prestige moving on the outside to challenge. East to west along the rail third. Bites them fourth. 2 lengths back to Shell's Crown fifth. Savage Yankee sixth. They come by the stands the first time. Gumball in front by 3/4 of a length. Ivory Prestige alongside second. East to west on the rail third. 4 lengths back to Bites them fourth. Half-time is 57-2. Around the clubhouse turn the final time. Gumball shows the way by length. Ivory Prestige on the outside second. East to west along the rail third. Bites them fourth. 4 lengths back to Shell's Crown fifth. Savage Yankee sixth. Speedy Big Boy seventh. Down the right stretch. Gumball maintaining a length to the quarter advantage. Ivory Prestige dropping back second. East to west moves up along the rail third. Bites them 3-1 on the outside fourth. 5 lengths back to Shell's Crown fifth. 3/4. 127 flat. Round the far turn. Gumball in front by 2.5 lengths. East to west the closest second. Bites them the outside third. Ivory Prestige fourth. Savage Yankee the outside fifth. They approach the head of the stretch. Gumball still in front by 1.5 lengths. East to west second. Bites them third. Through the stretch. Gumball leads by 2.5 lengths. East to west second. Gumball by 2.5 lengths. East to west can't catch him. Gumball in front. Here's the finish. Number 3, Gumball, a wire-to-wire winner. Number 2, East to West was second. Number 4, Bites them third. The mile of 157 flat. Let's go back to Gary Sussman and Frank Drucker.
Gumball, trained by Bill Andrews, driven to victory by Wally Hennessy. Ivory Prestige, Frank tried and tried, but Wally Hennessy wouldn't let him in.
And Joe Holloway and Bob Sussler got to be hoping to get better posts in the future, but it's not going to happen in the immediate future. Had the 8-hole here with Ivory Prestige, went out to the jug Thursday, got the 8-hole with Island Glow, but we talked as this race was developing, Gary, off the way this race shaped up. Once Gumball was hard-pressed to get the lead from a very stubborn East or West, it did not make any sense for him to let Ivory Prestige go, and he was not going to do it. We'll take a look at it right here. Ivory Prestige and Billy Fay in the orange colors. He's all through. Gumball sprinting away by 3. Bites them, as we said, the long campaign taking its toll on this horse. And the only horse with any kind of a shot to get him, as it turns out, not much of a shot, is East or West, who sat the perfect 2-hole trip. But as they tip out turning for a home, Wally Hennessy says, I'm the king of the Sire Stakes. I will win again, thank you, and I will not dead heat with anybody, thank you. Gumball, that's now 5 in a row, 9 of 19 for the horse that sold for all of $29,000 as room for speed, and he had speed to burn this evening.
And he is a 3-year-old by Speedy Crown as Wally Hennessy wins his 4th, setting a new Night of Champions record for an individual driver in terms of wins. Gumball, your winner. Wally Hennessy, the driver. We'll talk to Wally Hennessy when we return on Summer Racing 94. And welcome back to Yonkers Raceway. As you see the presentation for the Rodney Farms Trot being made by Clint and Barbara Galbraith, the owners of Rodney Farms, and it was Gumball victorious for Wally Hennessy once again in a New York Sire Stakes championship race. $360, $3, $210 East or West, and Bites them. The 3-2 exacta returned $29.20. Well, the king has a lot of magic. Will it rub off on Matt Lachlan? Let's find out. Matt?
Gary, I doubt it, but we will pay homage to the king, Wally Hennessy, with another victory this evening. And Gumball, obviously, much the best tonight.
He was awesome. I really didn't expect him. He's a great trotter. I said he was a great trotter. I didn't think he was as good as he was tonight. I mean, he was just on cruise the whole way. When Billy came at me, he came at me hard, and if I was going to have to use my horse, I probably would have let him go. But my horse was trotting so easy, it would have been foolish for me to let him go.
In speaking with Bill Andrews on the trip from the paddock area here to the winner's circle, there was a moment that you just described that concerned him. He wasn't sure what was going to happen, whether or not Gumball had enough, but obviously you in control knew that the horse did.
He was on cruise control. He really was. We've had a little problem with him on the half mile, but he's been getting better each and every start. And tonight I thought I'd take a chance leaving out with him, and it paid off for us.
Let's take a look from just past the quarter pole and tell us what's going through your mind early on.
Believe me, once I got him around that first turn, I just felt no pressure. When that horse came at me, I really didn't have to ask him to trot on much. He just did all this on his own. I mean, I was just the passenger.
Just the passenger. Did Hervé Filion tell you to use that line?
I'll listen to her. Anything he tells me, I'll listen to him.
Well, Hervé may now have to listen to the king. Wally, congratulations. Back upstairs to you guys.
All right, Wally Hennessy having an outstanding night here on New York Night of Champions.